Okay, so we're going to have a look at an interesting kind of quadruped stretch, so hands and knees position that sort of parallels what we do in our sleeper stretch to try to help develop internal rotation. So sleeper stretch is one of the most commonly prescribed and well-known exercises that people have used to try to help develop internal rotation. And then more recent research has kind of pointed in the direction of pulling the arm across the body in order to help us develop that range of motion, reaching up and behind our back, or just internal rotation of the shoulder in general. So this exercise is a bit of a variation on sleeper stretch, but it gives us some more input into the body through the elbow. So just in terms of like position sense and just that different type of information that comes into the body that way. Okay, so what we want to do is take the wrist and kind of put it down in between the knees, and then just place your elbow down on the ground, and at this position try to kind of get a little bit comfortable with putting some weight into your elbow. Okay, figure out what's a good position. You might try kind of grabbing on with this hand and sort of adjusting into a slightly more aggressive angle. All of this should be relatively pain-free. Okay, so if you're in pain, not appropriate, do something else. This position right here starts to feel like a little bit of a stretch. And yes, like sometimes these stretches are very sort of localized, and they might feel a little bit pinchy, but not painful. This position should not make you more sore, and you should not see a decrease in your range of motion after doing something like this. Okay, so from here, you can do a little bit of just kind of rocking your shoulders side to side and continuing to try to stay heavy into the elbow. Okay, so when you're kind of heavy into that elbow, usually the muscles up around the shoulder kind of relax a little bit. So you want to try to find an alignment that seems to give you some positive feedback, like the body is like, yeah, I can do this, I like this. You know, it's not like a total fight the whole time. Okay, so once we've done a little bit of rocking side to side a little bit, we'll try another variation. This is kind of like a thread the needle and reach across exercise. So look at your fingertips here. You're taking it through and just seeing how far you can reach there. And then come back and just go for a few repetitions there. If you wanted to, you could put a little bit of a block or something, or a book out there, and you just kind of press that a little bit further with each repetition, or see if you can kind of reach back at least to the same point that you were before. Okay, so that's kind of taking us in that combination of internal rotation and horizontal adduction. These are the two movements that do tend to help us with developing our internal rotation. So after having done that, or before and after having done that, you can use a test like this. If you do this actively, you come down and see how far you can kind of move without your shoulder blade coming up and away from the ground, or passively, if you're going to give it a little bit of an assist, and does that help you to get a little bit deeper into the position. And just notice when you're testing this that the position that your mid-back is in, if your mid-back is perpendicular to the ground, if the tip of the shoulders are kind of broad and driving down into the ground, and if you sort of standardize about a 90-degree position of the arm here relative to the trunk, that's going to give you some accurate test and retest. But if you kind of allow those things to always be changing, sometimes you'll come in and be like, oh wow, look at that's amazing today, and you might be kind of tricking yourself a little bit. Okay, so you know, these things, sometimes we'll see a little bit of improvement within session, but they do tend to take time, and it's okay for that to be something that's a little bit more gradual. It's going to require some consistency and some effort to see some improvements in that range of motion reaching up and behind your back. All right, so that's our quadruped internal rotation stretch, and I hope that helps.